Hi, this is Manish Bakshi, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to share some of the key insights from my good friend and I have mentored is Sarika Jain. She's a wonderful coach. She's just a wonderful human being. I've had time to spend with her as well. And I got to meet her just over 2 years ago at a conference. And during that conference, we found a good connection. And it was an interesting time in her life because she was going through a lot of change. And I'll let her talk more about that. And once she started working with me, within 6 months, she had increased her income to 15,000 in a month from zero. And that's pretty amazing. And I don't want to take all the credit because that's not the case. The main thing is she built a foundation. And today, my message is very simple. If you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, learn to build the foundation. So let me introduce to you Sarika. Sarika, just share a little bit about you.
Sure. Thanks, Manish. So I've been pursuing entrepreneurship for about 2 years or a little over 2 years officially. I've always had an interest in running a side business. I started exploring passive income streams 7-8 years ago. So I think that really when I really made the leap into entrepreneurship was when I actually started working on it full time and hiring a business coach. So in this case, I decided to work with Manish. I remember I met him at a conference. This was like right before I got married and get laid off 2 months later, and I kind of in my mind. So I was like, all right, this is it. I'm going to be jumping off into the next phase of my life. I had this feeling. So I remember I met Manish and he said, stop learning, start doing. And that really connected with me. Like I didn't know too much about business coaching, to be honest, because I had been in the corporate world for over 15 years, so I just resonated with those words because I'm a perennial student. Like I just study. I take online courses. I'm always in school. I'm always learning. But when he told me that, I was like, oh my God, I've actually got to start doing the things needed for being an entrepreneur. And coming out of the corporate world, that was really vague to me, even though I've read all these books on it. So that's how I got started. Right now, I run a love and relationship coaching practice. My latest venture is starting an online course. So the way I progressed was I first started doing one-on-one coaching, and then I moved into masterminds. And now my latest is 8 months ago, I launched my first online course. And that's kind of going to be my main platform for the next, foreseeable future is to run courses online. And I would say that I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not had the foundation of building, I remember when Manish and I were working for those 6 months together in the beginning was that he was like, you got to build your foundation. You got to build your foundation. And I didn't know what he meant because I remember like in month 2 and 3, I'm like, okay, I'm all set. I don't need any help. I got this down. But really, I think pushing myself to really build out this foundation for many, many months and probably for the whole year or two has really helped me just face my core fears and develop, skills needed to think about my business in different areas, finance, operations, client services. And I can go into each of these into more detail. But yeah, that's where I am right now. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I know you were very open. And for everybody, it's going to be different. Now, some people want to start online programs is the first place to start. Now, maybe that's the right fit for them. But in your case, as we remember, networking and speaking were two of your most powerful ways.
That's right. And you helped me identify that. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And once you identified networking and speaking, you became very active locally and you started hosting your own programs. And the whole part was that you became known as an expert and somebody who was willing to step up. I know you were amazed at the amount of money you were able to charge in a month, right? To some of the people that you were very, very new in that. And though you have Wharton School MBA, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so you are, for most people, in most people's eyes, very qualified as a business person, but you knew that you had not been on your own independent outside of a corporation. And you were willing to learn and engage in that process. So here are the things which I teach, and obviously this is what I taught you as well, is that the first is mindset. If you don't have the right mindset, nothing will change. So everything comes from mindset. But then you have to have a compelling message, have a process to generate enough leads, convert them, and then make them your raving fans. And if you do that process repeatedly with your potential clients over and over and over, it's a matter of time before you have a tribe, you have a group of people who believe in you, who want to learn from you, and they also see you as a leader. And I know that you engaged in that. That's the process I was teaching you anyway. And you did go through that process for yourself. And today, because you built that foundation, you can branch off and take off time, enjoy time in Hawaii or Reykjavik, like you went to Iceland last year, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. And so enjoying life while you are also aware that you are building a business, but it doesn't consume 24/7 of your life. And that's the part I think you mastered very, very well. So if you were to leave some tips for some of the people who are watching, maybe they haven't really made $5, $10, $20,000 a month themselves in a business, what are some of the key aspects that you focused on and that you have learned in the last 2.5 years of your journey that you feel that if they focused on, other than a couple of things you've already mentioned, that would help them?
Sure. So I would say several things. I think one of the key foundational principles was networking. You really, emphasize, building your top 25, top 50 relationships or whatever. Yes. I remember a lot of my business coming from like just a few key relationships in the beginning. And I was so grateful to them because they took a chance, they connected me to people and they endorsed me, even though I was just starting. So I was so grateful to them. And I try to pay that forward. So I think also another tip is for you to spend the first 1 or 2 years contributing to other people's businesses in a very generous way. Try to connect people, try to serve other entrepreneurs because listen, entrepreneurship can feel lonely. It can feel scary. It's vulnerable. None of your friends understand you. Your family doesn't understand you. Everyone thinks you're off the rocker. So finding support amongst entrepreneurs or just supporting other entrepreneurs is going to build your own confidence. And it's going to build those referral partnerships for you.
Exactly. I agree with you. Pay it forward is a great concept. Givers gain. You might heard that and other people have heard that. It
opens your heart, it's like it's very vulnerable, but it's heart opening. It builds trust. You don't have to expect reciprocity. I don't expect reciprocity, but I've seen myself being given to in so many ways, so it's all a virtuous cycle. So that's one thing. The second thing is to be proactive in terms of connecting with potential clients. I mean, I think, Manish, you taught me that. I really just wanted to go into online marketing and you were like, no, you've got to follow up with every person you meet, even if you don't think they're your ideal client because you don't know who your ideal client is. So I find that a lot of entrepreneurs get trapped in trying to identify who their ideal client is for the first 6 months or a year. Or forever, right? Because you're just so busy on trying to be perfect. But actually you learn who your ideal client is over time, like on your 10th client or 15th or 20th. It's like you don't know what your own message is. I think I was really going nuts about brand and message and this and that. And it's like, again, it boils down to choosing something, testing it, getting your first client, getting your second client. Getting your first 10 clients hustling, no matter what, no matter if they fit your profile or not, because hustling to get those first 10 is the hardest thing, I think, for an entrepreneur. And I think that that's where mentoring with you can, Manish, really help because no online course is going to make you hustle. I'm telling you that. I'm taking, online courses even right now. And to have someone like Manish, like you, I remember before my first phone call, or I had a meeting with a potential client who's 65, and I've never worked with a 65-year-old single woman before. And I was upgrading my prices too. Like I used to charge $60 an hour. Now I was going to charge $800 a month, which is totally out of the norm for me, and so anyways, I remember meeting with her and Manish was like, take a form with you, ask, and then you help me build my mindset about, I don't want to get too much into that, but then also just closing that deal. And it was so hard. I'm going to tell you this. But it was one of the best lessons I learned, and then repeating that, right? And so, it's almost like being open to meeting people, getting rejected, but just keep on building your client base and hustling in the beginning is another tip I would give.
Thank you so much. And again, based on what you're sharing, it's so obvious that you have, from your past experiences, really boiled it down together to become very wise. I can hear that. That wisdom comes from time, trying different things and learning from it.
Yeah. And then I want to say one more thing is, I remember another foundational principle was not spending unless absolutely necessary. So that was one thing, I wasn't great at, but, Manish was like, don't buy anything because you want to keep your expenses as low as possible. And so managing your finances is so valuable, and, bringing your costs down to variable cost as much as possible. And then the fourth principle is client services. Like, you've got to make your clients feel like number one. I mean, you really, really emphasize that. And I think that really helped build that foundation as well, because a lot of referrals come through clients and testimonials and.
Absolutely. Thank you. You've been just a joy to work with, and I look forward to developing more relationship with you. And as I do more events, I would love to have you come out and speak, because
I'd love to.
People will learn a lot from it, and they will see that, hey, these are people just like them. And you just decided to follow certain processes and systems and stay true to it long enough to see the results that you're now enjoying. So congratulations on your journey. Share with people your website or any place that they can get more information about you.
Sure. My website is sarikajain.com, sarikajain.com. And then my latest online course is sacredsoulmatesystem.com. So if anyone's interested in learning about how to attract your soulmate, it's a course designed for women. Just go to sacredsoulmate.com.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Sorry, sacredsoulmatesystem.com.
Okay. Well, thank you. And we'll put that link available as well, so more people can go and find out more about it. So thanks again, Sarika. I'm looking forward to your journey, more results, more achievements, and I know we will stay in touch with that. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Manish.